Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? It's Tuesday, the 6th of October, in the year 2020. How are you? What have you been up to? I'm asking out of politeness. I don't really want to know. I do, really. Hopefully, you've been doing lots of art and stuff. Oh, I don't know if you saw, those of you that are members of the Facebook student group, I found Birdsong Radio by the RSPB, and you can listen to it on your laptop. You can download it as an app, and you can find it on a DAB digital radio, and it's just hours of birdsong. So maybe we'll have some sort of Pavlovian response, because I force you to listen to birdsong in every lesson, and you do some amazing artwork. So maybe if you listen to every time you hear birdsong, you create amazing paintings. What amazement would that be? How good is that? Hello, 5 of you. How you doing, Rosemary? I'll be on Discord in about 5 minutes, I suppose. I'm just trying to warm up. I'm absolutely freezing this afternoon. Ever so chilly. Brr is the answer to that. Oh, I need my glasses on. That'll help, won't it? Oh no. You're all very quiet today. Do say hello. Otherwise, I'm very lonely up here, just talking to myself until I log my ear into Discord. I like to know who's there and who's if you know how to type, that is. I mean, it depends on what you're viewing on. Sometimes the comment boxes don't always show up, do they? So I've sort of... Hello, Louise. I saw someone like you this morning. Hiya, Christine. What's Louise?
Oh, I get it now. It's slow.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Hello, Rosemary Milliken. You are in the right group. That's all right, no problem. You realise it happens far more than you think. People are in all sorts of groups that they shouldn't be in, and then we sort them out. Or they're in the right group but can't find anything, or it's just, one of those things to learn. But now you can put it on your CV now you've worked out how to do it. An invaluable skill.
I'm going to be in and out. I'm not going there. I've got to, wait. And then I've got to take this to the post.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'll come back.
Yeah.
And collect that.
What size lunchbox?
They're just spares to go with those because they're for more than one.
Oh, yeah,
child.
yes.
But since it's being
Good idea.
it doesn't matter.
No, good plan. Saves you attacking them. Got loads of Jackie. Poor old Jackie's going to be laden down as like a Pacos, as we'd say.
Santa. Oh, Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. Santa Claus.
Fancy.
About 6 or 7 deliveries to be posted out today since yesterday, which is nice. Thank you for supporting us. I know it's not easy. Nothing's easy, is it, at the minute? That's just me cradling my cup of tea that you can just see my finger and my thumb as little pincers. So, as you can see, I have sketched out roughly where the tree is, roughly where the roots are, and this rock. But, it's all fluid. It's acrylics, isn't it? Don't matter. Let me just... 6 of you. Afternoon. I really can't get warm. I've been sitting at the laptop today doing loads of different admin-y stuff. And I'm cold up here. I think because the cafe's away, they're on holiday again until Thursday, and not having their big machine on, you know, the big hot water boiler coffee machine thing, it doesn't warm the building up, so there's no heat to rise in this room when they're not here. Well, do let me know when you've drawn or traced or sketched or whatever you've done to get this. If you're winging it, well done for being brave. I'm just going to put my lamp on a little bit. Subtle lighting, a subtle ambience.
I'm going for the first one now, but I'm coming back because I need to pick up more. I can't carry it well.
Oh, do you want a big bag? Oh, it's just too heavy, I suppose.
No, I'm going to go and do the post office one as well, but
Oh, yeah.
I can't do the other things since I went back because it's too much.
That's
too
fine.
heavy.
No, don't worry. I'll be here.
I know.
They've got me stuck here for 2 hours, Jackie, so
Oh.
I've got to listen to my voice for 2 hours.
God, I don't.
Thanks. Feel so special, listeners.
Oh, the concerts today, isn't it?
All different shapes today as well, aren't they? Everybody knows
Don't
a
call me
bright
Postman
red
Pat. I don't
fan.
like him.
all her friends will smile as she waves to greet them.
I feel like I'm as old as Mrs. Goggins. So
You don't look like Mrs. Goggins. See you in a bit. Thank you, Christine. Right, now let's see if I can get onto Discord and not have it muck up again. Monday, Tuesday. Hello, Chris and Anne and Robert and Rosemary. How are you? Good. Well, to be honest, it's not one that you have to draw loads with. Brilliant, Louise. Excellent. Right, so I've got. I'll talk through the colours. Yeah, it's nice to see you all as well. I've got black and white, cadmium yellow and cadmium red, burnt sienna, and ultramarine. That's about it, really. A fairly limited palette. I'm feeling extremely tired today. Yeah. All the gear. Oh, is it? Oh, it's gonna rain, isn't it? Because it's a school run time for Jackie nearly, so it always rains round about between 2 and 3 o'clock, without fail, except on the summer holidays. Yeah, black and white, cadmium red and cadmium yellow, burnt sienna, and ultramarine. They're gorgeous, isn't it, those roots? When I saw the photograph, I just fell in love with it. The way they've sort of like moulded around the stones. No. Hi, Janice. Hmm. Yeah, now you see, I've just checked my Discord and I've got Robert able to see. Weird, isn't it? Did you get any further on your hair, Rosemary? Okay. Oh yeah, it's Tuesday, isn't it? Ultramarine. Oh, he can't hear me, can he? 3/4 inch. Could you just read out the colours so Robert can hear you tell the colours, somebody? Brill. Thank you. Yeah, you might have to relay a few of the trickier bits that he might not be able to see on screen. So it's a biggish brush. It's about a 3/4 inch brush. And then it will be white with a teensy weensy bit of cadmium yellow. Yeah, well, you see that the whole page. I'm going to go over my tree that I've drawn just a little bit because I've got quite dilute. So there's more of a yellow glow. Oh, I've just picked up some watercolour. Oh, that's annoying. Can you see where it's gone grey? Yeah, warm yellow. That's alright. Now my tree's gone a bit of a problem already because there was some random watercolour on my board. Yellow and white. You might have to remind him, someone. Yeah, it's yellower on the left, and then as we move towards the right, we're adding more white. Just to tint and help get the glow. And by pushing it in, I can still see my not at the minute. I'm making the left hand side quite yellow to start with. to help with the blend. I'm sure your version will look beautiful, Janice. It always does. La 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 la. Yeah, I can just about see my pencil lines of the tree. Yeah. Saves faffing. Well, ish, but I'm reluctant to put that in yet. Well, you see, what you can do is it is a bit more blue on the right hand side. So what you can do is make it a little bit more white, but then mix a tiny bit of ultramarine and a tinsy bit of cadmium red. So you're turning the blue, you're stopping the blue from being blue. So it's more of a purple blue and more white. So I'm just sort of, if I stipple it in, I can probably hide it a little bit easier. So I'm just changing the tint of this part of the sky, but we're going to do the foliage and everything over this, so it will, you can blend it, depends how dry your paint is. My paint's not wonderfully blendable at the mo. So the sky is more of a glow on the left, so by making more of a purple than a blue, it's sort of a purpley grey on the right hand side, it stops it from green, and it just sort of helps create the glow. But we're going to do more with the glow shortly. So we're going to play around. I'm going to keep this flat brush going for a bit because I'm going to use it for all the foliage to start with. We're going to work in a slightly different way. Is it hard for you to see my picture? Would it help if I added more white? Yes, there you can see it better. So it's the right hand side is ultramarine with a tiny bit of cadmium red and white. So it's a purpley blue mashed in and over the top of the yellow. So it shouldn't go green. It should go more of a grey or a purple. Yeah. Well, you can blend it in if your backgrounds. If you could let Robert know it's ultramarine, cadmium red and white. Red. Yeah. Ultra. So it's more of a purple. Be sort of, yeah, grey or purple will work, yeah. So I'll be mixing a bit of green in a min. But it's very yellow green, so that's okay. We're not going to worry about the glow. Let's wait for you all to catch up a little. No. I can't remember writing it on the box.
Yeah, don't think it had it on the box. But
Pardon? It is at the moment, yeah. It won't be.
did you write her name on and not the address or something?
I don't think I wrote anything on.
She said she'd gone by she'd like looked up the address from your manifest and put like from the number and the postcode. Because she said, I don't see you every day, so I didn't know you were going to come in back in. So she just wrote it from that. But it's fine because at least it's your. So I've just sent another one. It's not the end of the world, is it? Well, it should get there anyway.
It should get there. Oh,
she
that's
did it
annoying.
from the manifest.
But when you say, I just can't remember writing it. That's the only one I would have written.
Yeah. Yeah, because she pointed at the box like that I was dropping up, and she said yesterday you dropped one of those that was completely blank. I said, oh.
I don't think I wrote.
I don't know how that happened. And she said, but it's okay because on your manifest it says the number and the postcode, so we just did the address for you. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, it's gone, so there wasn't any point in me saying anything. But it was nice of her to do it, I suppose, really, wasn't it?
Right, so I'm going in with cadmium yellow, a tiny bit of ultramarine,
Anyway,
thank you,
it'll
Jackie.
be fine. If
It
it's
will.
not, I'll sort it out.
Thank you. And a tiny weeny bit of ultramarine, so it still looks yellow, but slightly off. And I'm stabbing. You could use a fan brush for this. No, there's hardly any blue in it. It's yellow. Basically, you want the blue to not even be there. It's basically yellow with a tiny weeny bit of blue that's almost non-existent. It's less than a pin prick rather than a pin head. For now, cadmium yellow and a little bit of ultramarine. But you'll keep some of that because if you've made it too blue, you'll need some. We're going to go darker, but I want to do the lighter colour first. Yeah, but we'll need some of that. So cadmium yellow. It's all cad yellow. All of it is cad yellow with just a pinprick of blue. That's all. It's the majority. It's like 99.99% cadmium yellow. Your brush has got blue on already automatically, possibly. That could have sorted it. I'm just stippling where the foliage is. Well, Yeah, wherever the foliage is.
Oh. Oh, that's sweet. I knew it must be a gift because it wasn't addressed right. I mean, it wasn't addressed how we would
Say
have
that again,
addressed it.
sorry. Yeah, you just want your brush to be all manky, basically. I can't describe it any other way. You might be better off with the fan brush. No, not on the side. You want the bristles to splay. So go with a fan brush. If you can't get your bristles to splay on the flat one, use a fan brush or any really stiff bristle brush. If it works, use it. And then I'm going to just use a little bit more blue, because you can see in the picture, if I just quickly run to the reference image, there's greens, oranges and blues in the, well, darker greens, yellows and oranges in those leaves. So I'm going to go slightly darker. I haven't cleaned my brush is really dry, the paint is neat. I will need to go with a little bit more blue. But if you struggle with this brush or any flat brush, switch to a fan brush or something else that you find a little bit easier to work with. But what you don't want to do is cover up all of the yellow. So whatever brush you use, if you're not careful, like with the rake brush or the comb brush, what will happen is you'll end up printing the same shape as the brush. So if you twist it as you dab, what that will do is it will just give you a more random look. We'll go a little bit of a dirty orange in a minute, but we'll pace ourselves. So that's the same colour, just with more blue. And then I'm going to do the same with a bit of cad yellow and cad red, still with the same brush, and I am not washing it, because the wetter your brush is, the more blobby it will go rather than stippled. So you want to just be a bit more sparing with the reddy orange, but you can make it a little bit more red, I suppose. There's no law against what sort of shade of orange, green and yellow you've got. Is fine, to be honest. This is just the background, because the tree's going to go in front of it. Then I'm going to paint some proper leaves over the top. That's all right. Well, I've got to go and serve a customer now anyway. I'm cleaning my brush, and then we can work on blocking in the bottom bit, I think. Maybe. Back in a minute. Ooh, I am back. What for? Well, it's interesting, isn't it, that the stones and the roots are the same colour. Weirdly. But I think what I'm going to do is use a smaller flat brush. This is going to be a bit weird. Mix a little bit of black and burnt sienna together. Oh, I think that's a light flare from the camera, you know. That circular thing. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just, I think it's a light flare. A bit more water with it than if it's lumpy. So I'm just painting the shapes of the rock with a lot of brown and a bit of black. Oh, you know, I've missed a bit of sky off. It's black and burnt sienna. If you could, somebody could let Robert know, it's burnt sienna with a bit of black. Right. So I've just painted in just where the rocks are. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to quickly fill in the bit that I missed out, which is a bit of the yellow and the white down here. Don't forget the camera's going to change the colour. It's almost like a chocolate brown. You'll see it because basically what I'm going to do is where the leaves are around the roots, I'm going to do it in black. Yeah, burnt umber. It's kind of a burnt umber colour that we're creating anyway, so absolutely. I mean, it's all a base colour. It's all a base colour ready. So the stones are brown with a bit of black. Around the stones and the roots is black. So where all the leaves will go on, this is a bit of underpainting. Well, that's a bit of stone as well, though, isn't it? It is, because it's all such a similar colour. That's a stone there. It will change once we've got the lights on, but you see, we can't really do the tree until we've put the rocks on that the tree is growing over, you know. That's the thoughts behind this. No, I can just right. I've got another customer. We've had no customers all morning while Jackie's been here, but I think they do. Right, so I'm gonna have to go again back in a minute. But we need this to dry anyway. I'm back. Doesn't this look really weird? Well, I mean, to be honest, you could paint it all black. It doesn't really matter. Well, I've decided not to, and the reason why is because the camera just doesn't like the contrast. So I've had to sneak it out a little bit. Um, no. Well, exactly. I mean, it's got to be sort of simplified. So if we do the rocky bits next, which is going to be with a small flat brush, I'm going to drag it across rather than. You could palette knife. If you've got a painting knife, you could use that if you're really feeling adventurous. I'm far be it from me to stand in your way. So I'm going to mix. I'm going to mix a green. I'm hoping you won't need me to remind you which colours, because we've only got one yellow and one blue out. So that's the only way we can make it. Don't forget, Chris, I know where you live. I will hunt you down. Right. So I want a bluey green from the ultramarine and cadmium yellow. I'm going to tell your wife on you. Oh, good. Poke him, Anne. Poke him. Then I'm going to go with a little bit of burnt sienna. I think burnt sienna will be better than burnt umber for this bit. So it's sort of a browny green. It's a proper swampy sludge colour. Maybe khaki. I don't know. And then a tiny bit of white. So it's the green from the cadmium yellow and the ultramarine. The burnt sienna. Quite a bit of burnt sienna. And then a tiny bit of white. Now I'm using the number 6 flat, which is about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch. And I'm basically just going to draw. Oh, I should start from this side. I'm terrible, aren't I? I always start from the right hand side, even though I'm right handed. And then I come unstuck because I have to lean over all my work. Cad yellow and ultramarine. Then burnt sienna. And then there's just a teensy bit of white to start with, and then I'm kind of doing it in striations. A big word for me on a Tuesday afternoon. Kevin, is this your week off or something? Good morning. Are you fully awake? It's like not. Is it nearly 10 o'clock though, isn't it, where you are? How lovely. That's 2 days in a row I've heard your little chirrupy voice. Ah, that's nice. I think you'd enjoy this one. Well, it's ultramarine. You need to make a green first, so it's got to be cadmium yellow and ultramarine. You have to make the green first, otherwise it won't work. Make the green first, then add the brown, then add the white. I'm not getting that phone at the minute because I really need to get this on. No, it's definitely mine. I can see it lighting up. How funny. Oh, what's that button there? So it's more of a green than anything else, I suppose. basically, I mean, we just want it to be sort of textured. We want it to look a little rocky. We might do, depending on time, a bit more with the dark lines and things, but it is, I think that's going to be a little bit of a stone there. If I go with a bit more white and a bit more brown now. That's a bit too much brown. That's slightly better. I want a slightly more browny whitey colour. I haven't cleaned my brush. Yeah, I think it'll work with a knife. So our glow, don't forget, our light source is this yellow bit that we haven't really painted in the sky. So it's the left hand lower left is our light source. So all the lighter bits are going to come from the top and the right. Hello, Harry. Top and the left, yes. You know I can always get my left and my rights the wrong way around. Well, some of them are straight, some of them are slightly diagonal. Does he taste nice? I might have to go with a little bit more white on this, just to maybe a bit of yellow as well. Layers. Rocky. Yeah. Yeah, there are. I mean, there is this. It's such a lot. I mean, the tree trunks are very similar as well because we've got a yellow sunlight on it. It makes it even more um, variable in terms of the glow because obviously. But there are bits of blue in it. There's all sorts. So I'm gonna let you have a play really. Maybe I'm going to go with a tiny bit of black in there. I might go with a little bit of black. It could be Jackie. I think it is. I think it's Jackie before the school run. I mean, that's all right. They are weird rocks, though, to be fair. It's all very weird. So you could have a bit of brown in there. Just play around, but try not to mix your colours up too uniform, because that way you can get some really interesting mixes. I mean, there's lichen and all sorts, but to be fair, because it's nearly 3 o'clock, you don't want to spend hours and hours on this. Because if none of it works, all we do is we just stick more leaves on it. It's all about the leaves now. But the leaves are going to be the last thing we do, because obviously they're over the roots as well, aren't they? So that'll create more layers and excitement. Let's see if that works. It was. She's probably doing it during my class, so I know that she's working still. Good. Good. I'm sure you'll enjoy those boxes as much as the children have. Yes. Yeah, she's that sort of cusp age, you know, the 12, it might well be more adult. But wait and see what she thinks. So I've got my rocks sort of in place, but to be honest, much of the tree is going to be a very similar colour to the rocks. So it's just sort of one of those things. But what we're not going to worry about, you can see if I switch to the reference image for a second, you can see where the glow is really coming from on the lower right. Those branches are quite transparent, but we're not going to worry about that. What we're going to do is actually put the branches in as normal, then we're going to glaze the glow over the top. So it means you haven't got to stress about it as much at the moment. Plenty of time for stressing. We've got nearly an hour for stress, so that's fine. You know, I have to include a little bit of stress in every lesson. Rocky Horror Show. Yeah, it is at the minute. Well, they don't really look that rocky in the photograph, do they? It could look like roots because they're all such a similar colour. No, I'll message it you. No. I'm just going to use a little bit of runny black to outline the rest of the roots, because I've sort of lost them. And then what we'll do is we'll have a couple of minutes for you to make a drink, or get your, if you have any slaves at home that you're related to or married to make one for you. I don't now. I've got to make my own today now. I have. My slaves have been sent out to do deliveries. Yeah. I'm using runny black so I can outline the shape of the roots, so I roughly know where they're going to go. Because hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll still see a little bit of the black line through the roots. So if it's your first class today, I do hope you're all right and you're not crying in your paint just yet. I want talking about you. We You'll be fine. Your work's lovely. It's always good stuff. I can psychically tell. Yeah, outline the root, just the rooty bits, not necessarily the rest of the tree. Doesn't really matter, but this should hopefully help a fraction at the bottom of the tree. Enthralled, aren't you, Kevin? Shh, no, it's not. It's really fun and easy. Well, what we're kind of doing is we're outlining the roots. That's all it is. We're just doing a bit of outlining, nothing too strenuous, just a little bit of outlining. You've got to make your paint nice and runny. I had a customer this morning asking how they can paint a signature in oil paint and what pen to use, and I said a pen won't really work. She said, but I can't use a brush. I said, how runny is your paint? And she said, oh, I'm just painting straight from the tube. I said, you need to make your paint like water, really. Otherwise, if you can't use a pen, because with oils it would need to dry for like 3 or 4 months before you could put a pen on. So it's really tricky. I mean, it's not impossible, but which brush are you using? The same one as me, the riggery one, the wobbly one. Yeah, you have. It says number 1 and it's long. It's not a full long length rigger. It's a half rigger. Oh, it looks like I've got like at the moment it looks like I've had a zebra fall over a cliff on my picture. There are 2 number 1s. Yeah, you want to use the longer number 1, not the shorter number 1. And then make it really inky and roll it around. No, sometimes I think that's probably for the best, so I don't despair. Don't you think? Oh, we've got another lady from Monday night we had a new lady join from the Netherlands. She wants to be on Discord now. She wants to be part of the party. I'll have to forewarn her. Do you really know what you're letting yourself in for? Right. I don't know. I'll have to double check. But she does a lot of the live demos. She did her first class with us, her first live class yesterday, which is nice. It's lovely to have so many of you from all over the place. I really love it. Right, so it's 3 o'clock. I'm going to go and pop my kettle on. Yeah. Well, you know very well, once you've outlined it, once you shove a bit of the root colour on, you're going to lose your outline anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. But it just helps us know where to stick it, Rosemary. So would you like me to tell you where to... where to place the roots? I know that's why I didn't finish the sentence, because I'm live. Right, so kettle's going on, then we're going to paint all of the tree and the roots all in one go, plus the highlights. Then it will be the glow, then the leaves, and then you'll be left with an amazing masterpiece, and you won't know whether it's the painting or a photograph. So I'll be back in 2 minutes because I've got a speedy kettle. The Morphy Richards, it's very good. I can thoroughly recommend. I'm back. I have returned. I told you it was a fast boil kettle. Now I'm hoping I'm still live because I've lost my screen. Good, that's good. I don't know why. You may know this, Kevin, because you're techie. My laptop is plugged right into the router, and I'm streaming using OBS on the same computer that I'm actually going live on. Yet, nearly halfway through every lesson, the live feed on Facebook for me won't show up. Isn't that weird? Because you'd think out of all of it, I can watch it on my phone or something, but I can't. Like now, my screen just what does it say? It says, "Sorry, we're having trouble playing this video." Yet it's a live stream, so it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be doing that. So I normally wait for everyone to tell me. I can't see it or what have you, but I've not had that yet, so that's okay. Right. So what we want to do is we want a yellowy blue. We need quite a lot of this because this is going to be your tree colour and your root colour. Yellow, a little bit of blue. Oh, that's a lot of blue. And a bit of brown. Basically the same colour as we've just mixed for the rock, but a bit more yellow. And we'll put some highlights on it in a bit, but not yet. Don't matter. Because Facebook is very quiet today, because I know they're all concentrating hard, so I can't tell if they can still hear me, but if you can still. More yellow. It's like a real sludgy sort of khaki, and I'm making the paint quite dilute. Well, yeah, that's why I'm making it fairly dilute to start with, and then I'll see what I can do. So, yeah, a yellowy blue and a bit of brown. Yeah, but more yellow. And even though more water with it, yeah. We will go a bit darker in places, but it just helps to sketch it in. It is, but I want to see where my roots are, so I'm doing it a slightly different way today. Yeah, I'm going to put the leaves in with sort of like an individual brush later, just because they're closer to us than the background leaves. It'll give us a bit more shape, you know. So if they're, it should look quite nice in theory. Now I bet I'm going to run out of paint before I get anywhere near. I'll be able to get the tree done. I don't think I'll be able to get the roots done. I know. I did the same thing the other day. You know, I was in a class and I didn't make anywhere near enough paint that I normally would just make tons of the stuff. I think it's really hard making the right amount of paint or getting the right amount of water. There's a lot of different ratios with art, and of course, not only is that tricky. I should be able to wash right over the dark parts of these roots now, um, so I can see them all fairly dilute. Um, you know, once you with acrylics or watercolors, to be fair, once you've got a ratio, it will change depending on what scene you're doing. So if you like with this, I want it quite runny, but if I was going to do trees in a different way, I'd want it thicker. So it is harder to try and work out what's going on in my head. No, I don't even know half the time. To what? Yeah, I missed a root out. Well, mine's so close to the rock colour that I've made sure I had a little bit more yellow in, just so I knew. Oh, is it raining where you are, Louise? Well, you're not too far away, but we've got lovely. It seems quite nice out the window. What about you, Chris? What's the weather like where you are? You're a bit further south, aren't you, Louise? You're a bit more towards Oxford. We don't have to say where your address is, just in case. But I know where you live. Because we're in a live group. But you're sort of mid-Oxfordshire, I would say, are you? I always get confused with the counties. Because like where I live in North Oxfordshire, but to get to my house you have to go through Northamptonshire. So you you go through Oxfordshire into Northamptonshire and then back again into Oxfordshire, so really weird. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's quite. I mean that's why the Four Shires magazine works so well, I think, because it was on the doorstep of all the others. It's such a shame that that had to finish. But I think they made the decision at the right time, because I think it would have been forced to go with the whole Corona thing, wouldn't it? I know. Because I know where I'm putting it, you see. But also, there's only 45 minutes just over of the lesson left, so I have to make sure that the lesson's done, so anybody else watching can do it. Well, I do. That's true. Well, you might surprise yourself with this, because basically, once you've got this bit in, there's just a lot more to do afterwards. No, it's just your lights and your darks, and then the leaves on top, which is quite nice. That the leaves bit is quite fun and freeing, um, because it's just lots of stippling. But I'd forgotten these roots down here. They're everywhere, aren't they? Mind you, I did say it was a tree painting with lots of magnificent root systems, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise to me. That, and I also chose the picture. So out of everybody, I should know what's going on. Good luck with that. See, I like that colour. Might be good for the lighter tone of the tree, maybe. So I could always, let me just have a fiddle and see if I can make a darker colour. I think I want the darks to be more of a blue brown, but really runny. So if I mix ultramarine and a bit of burnt sienna and a lot of water, let me just test this out. So really runny. I've now got to work out where each branch is and which one overlaps. So this is just a really runny ultramarine with a bit of burnt sienna. Darker on the right hand side, and I've just double checked that I've said the right, and I have. So we haven't got to worry about leaves, because that's what we're going to put on afterwards. All we've got to worry about is just making it look a little bit more three-dimensional. Now that's part of it, isn't it, that bit? Yes. Well, that's alright, as long as you're listening to the next bit. That's good. It's more than 90% of my classes ever do. Nothing. which one goes in front and which one goes behind. Pot luck now, isn't it? That one. How are the hedgehogs going, Rosemary? Have you seen the babies? I bet they're not babies anymore, are they? Oh, there might be, because it has started. We haven't had any frost yet, have we? But it has started to get a little bit chilly for the little hedgehogs. Mm. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Well, they're so endangered, aren't they? Oh, bless. Little hedgehogs, how cute. Oh, but if they're being looked after, that's good, because there is not many of them about now, hedgehogs, is there? Yeah, and they're so cute. Oh, I'm using the darker colour, this sort of sludgier colour, to create just a few thinner ones. Again, it doesn't really matter. Now I've got, what's that one there? Where's on earth? Where on earth does that one go? There. Let's stick that one there. And that's dark in there. So this is really, really watery. I will probably add a sort of yellowy highlight on them as well, on the light side. More so on the glowy bit. It's such a beautiful tree though, isn't it? You could imagine all sorts of things and happening under this tree, or little goblins and fairies and gnomes. You know, I love a gnome. So for branches to work well, you want nice and runny paint. So you want it like ink. Inky water paint, really. It'll just build up slowly, and then all of a sudden you'll have the most fantastic tree, and you'll not believe that you painted it. And then you'll realise you're looking at my picture. Yes. No, I honestly think your work, all of your work, is absolutely amazing. I love looking through what you post. Whenever you post it. Oh, I know. Chris's version of Yosemite Park was lovely. Did you see that, Kevin? Where's he gone? Chris's version of Yosemite Park from a few weeks ago. But he did it several weeks before everybody else. So I posted the wrong one. Yeah, that's the way. El Capitan. Yeah. Hills and mountains are your kind of thing. I think you should all give yourself more credit than you do. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think that's what's really nice about, because we do such a broad variety of subjects here. You've always got a chance to find what bit you actually think you're good at. You know, because you might think that oh, I can't do buildings or I can't do trees, but you know, it's not that you can't do things. You just don't like doing things. But you do things really well. Like, you know, that beetle that you did that you hated doing was one of your best pieces, I think. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? No. You know, there are things that I teach that I really don't enjoy doing, but I do it just out of a sense of I feel I ought to, because of it's my job, really. Um, if I only taught you things that I like doing, then that'd be pretty rubbish, really. You'd all be fed up of trees and gnomes. And what? It's Well, it's a lot of ultramarine and a bit of burnt sienna. Yeah, because you know I love my stormy theatrical skies, or rays of light coming through woodlands. Funnily enough, um, and trees, gnarled old trees. I just oh right. So if your colour is really dark, Rosemary, what you can do is just add loads and loads of water with it to make it transparent, and you'll find that it will work for you. Because what I've got, you see, mine has gone, um, because of it being transparent. See how it looks. Do a little bit of it, and then add loads of water to it to see how see if it changes at all. Because there's a highlight colour got to go on this. Um, okay. I mean, you might want to just wait for me to do the, because you've not done the other bit yet. You might find it easier to wait until I've done the other bit to then decide on the tone of your tree. You know, because it does make a difference, I think. Um, yeah, the sort of riggery colour. Yeah, yeah, riggery one, riggery pokery one. I just, do you know, I enjoy when I used to record the paintings as a speed painting, and this is not being big headed or anything. Um, I used to love watching it back fast to see the painting emerge, because obviously when you're sitting and you're painting it and you're teaching it, you don't really see the painting evolve in the same way. Now, if you made a drink, it was nearly half an hour ago, so just make just a little advisory note to drink and be merry. Well, runny's good, because you'll be able to see the colour underneath if it's really runny. Yeah, so it'll be like a glaze. where you can, and I'm going to be doing the same thing with a lighter colour over the top, where we've got this sort of to really make the light feel like it's hitting. So we might, obviously these classes are always 2 to 2.5 hours. We very rarely need the extra half an hour, but we might have to go into it a little bit today. Because I don't want to rush too much. Now we'll go a little bit longer. Yeah, often we finish earlier. Oh, I'll definitely finish earlier. Oh, the bird song's finished. That's why it's gone a bit quiet. It's amazing. It just suddenly goes really quiet, and I never can work out why. And then I realise it's down to me. I'm either not talking or the bird song's not on. So I want that to dry just a fraction. I'm not going to worry too much about the paint being too dry. That doesn't matter, but I do, before I move on to the next bit, I'm not worrying about the glow, although technically there should be another branch there that I haven't put in, so let me stick that in. It does, it totally disappears, doesn't it, over on that side, but we'll that kind of works. But that's our glowy bit. We're all right with the glowy bit. We can. And I'm just going to work out how which way the glow will be, whether it'll be more of a yellow or I think I might want a little bit of an, oh yeah, if I go with cad yellow, cad red and white, I've got a sort of really nice nectarine peachy sort of colour. So let's see what that would look like. I think I have a customer, so that'll give you a little bit of time to catch up. Good, normally you're ahead of me, Chris. Yeah, well that's okay. You can see that glow's working a little bit. Right, I'm going to have to go down, so that's good. That colour is cad yellow, cad red and white in a lot of water. Back in a min. Oh. Oh, I'm back. There's a nice lady that's thinking of joining the acrylic classes, so that's lovely. No, I lied and said you were all lovely students. Right, it's she's very excited. She says, "I want to be an artist." That's a lovely attitude to have. Well, I've just set her up with all the paints that she needs. So, yeah, no, I was very good. I was very good. This time, I'll wait and then I'll reel them in. I know. If only I had this brush. If only I had that paint. I'm waiting for my delivery because I said, didn't I, yesterday? I think I said to Monday morning's class that I've ordered that black 3.0, the blackest black acrylic paint that's ever been invented. So I'm going to be quite excited to receive that. So this is the glowy colour, which is cad red, cad yellow, and a little bit of white and a lot of water. Because the light is coming, don't forget the light is coming from here. Oh, Facebook is so quiet. It worries me when you're all so quiet. Because you have to get to a point with your art where you have to think in any painting, am I going toward, do I want it to be photographic? Do I just want it to look, am I going to be happy with it if it's just a little bit loose and a little bit rough around the edges, but looks like what I'm after? Or, at the point where I'll just be happy to get anything that looks even vaguely like what it's supposed to. Big decisions to make. I might add a little bit more white to this. So lots of texture. A few highlights, but I think definitely if I add a little bit more white and a lot more water to this orangey colour, adding the white makes it more opaque so it will stand out. Good, I'm glad you're concentrating, Louise. I'm looking forward to seeing yours. This is your kind of thing, isn't it? Your kind of work. No pressure there, Louise. It's funny, I'm because I'm a member of lots of different artist groups on Facebook. I see so many artists all saying, "Oh, I wish I was like you. I feel like a fraud. You're all so amazing, and I'm so rubbish." But then somebody else will say, "But I think your work's better than mine, and I want to be like you." So it's funny, isn't it? How we're never really satisfied, but a better version. Yeah, I mean the whole color mixing thing, it it it's all it all comes with time and patience and practice, which most arty people don't have a lot of. Because I don't. I want it. I just want it. Now. Why can't I do it now? Yeah. Why can't I just do the lesson and do it really well, and it look exactly like this painting or this photograph that I'm doing? Why can't it? I have had students though that have you know had much higher expectations for things that they've never done before, and then they won't come back to a class because they feel like they failed because they've never done something before and it was hard, and then it sort of it really knocks their confidence. Whereas everything is always tricky the first few times that you do it, and I know quite a few students once they've come from well, like you did, Rosemary, you came from watercolors into acrylics, and it's a totally different universe, isn't it? So no, no, it just means it just makes you more determined to. Do you know? But again, I think at the moment that so many people, creative people, are feeling so uninspired. I again in these art groups, I'm seeing dozens upon dozens saying I just don't feel inspired to paint anymore. And yeah, and it feels like that sometimes. And but in times of instability, and let's face it, we've got lots of it. And from my point of view, from lecturing in art history, you see this happening time and time again throughout history, where you've got periods of huge instability, of political or financial instability, and the creative world just sort of doesn't die, but it sort of goes a lot quieter. And then as soon as you get through the other side, and you get, I'm going to add a little bit of black because obviously I've painted over some of my black. Once you get through the other side of that feeling, that's when you get Renaissance ideas and new ideas and a new lease of life. Because let's face it, in terms of art, artists can only paint if somebody's going to be buying their work, and if people haven't got the cash, then they're not buying as much. So um, it's really interesting. I did a lecture once on British art history, and um, there's something that I say in it that one student asked me to read at least 4 times because it is really important, and it's in every single generation there are creative geniuses, there are amazing authors, painters, sculptors, writers, mathematicians, and all of that. In every single generation we have that. This is just really runny black, by the way. But in order for them to become that genius, they need to flourish in the right environment, and it needs to be stable. So every generation has got all of these amazing people, but they don't flourish, or we don't find out about them because it's not the right time for them. So it's not that we don't have really good minds, it's just that they're not visible because they're unable to flourish. And I think that's quite important not to lose sight of. At troublesome times, we do still have our genius and amazing people, but they're just not visible. Yeah, no, yeah, it's just all a big cycle. Um, I mean, if you think about it in a different way, we are living in a really different, exciting and pivotal moment in global history. It doesn't feel like it at the moment. It feels awful. Um, but, you know, in another respect, it is a landmark time. You know, I don't know if you've caught any David Attenborough programs lately and all of that, you know, everything that's going on with the environment, that we've still got the chance to save it all, if we choose. So it's a crucial time we're living in, that could be, by some, could say it's exciting as well as scary. Yes. No, I mean, I've got to say, because I've been in this game for decades now, you can see how that black has really brought these tree roots out, but I need that to dry. So what if I talk you through the next phases, um, what I'm going to do is I need to make that glow with glaze, so it will soften the background, it will soften the trees and wood, and it will soften the main branch a fraction, the main trunk going up on the left hand side. Then as that dries, I'll probably use the this sort of riggery dabbery brush to paint individual leaves on in oranges and yellows, and that will then form the basis. So we've probably got another 20 minutes or so, of me teaching. But don't forget, you can, as soon as the lesson ends, you can always, within 3 minutes of me finishing the video, you're able to watch it as many times as you like, to be able to do the bits that you need to do, or change anything, or just double check the colours that I'm using, in order for you to carry on. You can see my coffee cup. How very unprofessional. It's because I put my glasses where my coffee should be. Hang on, let me just switch. So at the moment we haven't got that nice ethereal glow, and we've got no leaves, and all of that will really bring the texture. Now, what will work really well in this picture at the moment, it's quite two-dimensional, but once the orangey red leaves come in place, what that will do is it'll actually bring that foreground forward, because the warmer the colours, the more reddies and the browns in your colours, it will bring your foreground to the fore, and the softer the colour will make it feel pushed back. So it should start to give us a little bit of depth. Now, if this area where I want to glow is dry, I can show you what I'm on about. Now, what I'm going to do is go with a white and a very small amount of yellow. I don't want it to be totally white. So I suppose it's like an antique white, if you really wanted to have a name for it. A lot of water, and I think I need a bit more yellow in that, and a lot more water. Yeah. But again, this only has to go on when everything else is dry. So what it should start to do is bleach out all of the colour that's there. Yeah, I mean, it does depend on your palette, but you're right. Your paint can dry quite quickly. The Magello palettes are really really good. I mean, they're not cheap. They do a small. I think we've got a small sized one for about £15, and a double sized one for £25. Um, and they don't use any water or anything. It's just an airtight lid. I'm adding a little bit more white in their centre for that glow. Um, and they keep the paint wet for weeks. Sometimes I've actually had to get really annoyed with them and turf them out because they were too wet still, and I wanted to move on to different colours or different mixes. So it's really interesting. So I've added a bit more white there, slightly neater. Yeah, they do, because of the moisture in the stay wet ones, exactly. And if they're not flat all the time, then they will start running. Whereas the Magello ones don't run as much because you're not diluting the paint. Well, you see, I find it keeps it almost wetter for longer, but I think maybe. Yeah, what often I do is, as soon as I finish the classes, I get a sponge in the middle tray, and I leave the dollops of paint around the outside until they run out, really, or go too hard. And then once they go a bit sticky, then I'll just leave them out so I can peel them off later on. Leave it out overnight and peel off. Yeah, it's fine. You see, I used to, with the stay wet, I used to keep it in the fridge, and that seemed to keep it a lot longer. I could get 4 or 5 weeks out of that. So you can see with this glow, it's softened all of that background, and I might put another coat on it later. I don't know. I don't want to commit to that idea just yet, because I want to see what it looks like when the leaves are on and all of that sort of change. So I just need a little bit more cadmium yellow. Well, this is it exactly. Well, yeah. Yeah, you see, if I was painting this for myself, I would probably work on a full black canvas and do it in a different way. Um, but obviously, in terms of teaching purposes, it's a little bit tricky to get that. I've just mixed some cadmium red and cadmium yellow together um, to give me a few orange leaf shapes, and then I might. Oh, I'm gonna stick a bit more red in there. Why not? If I don't mix the colour thoroughly, I can get some really nice mixes of foliage, and I'm just doing it as a dab, to be honest. Love a good dab. Oh, I was just going to say, I wonder who that is playing in the background. That's lovely. Oh, I've closed now. That's good. So this has not got any white in, it's just a lot stronger. A mix of yellow and red, but not a thorough mix. So there's some little bits on, and then you can really start to think about where these leaves go. You could make them a little bit more red if you wanted them to be to stand out a little bit more. Yeah. Or just mix up the colours so you've got a bit more of a random and of course you can easily put lighter colours on the top, so it's wonderful that acrylics are so nice. I was saying to that lady downstairs earlier that it just gives you that opportunity to wallop another colour on top. So if you're feeling a little bit apprehensive, it doesn't matter, you can just plop a bit of a colour on and see how it goes. And this should start looking a bit more like a tree with roots on a rock with leaves on now. As long as I stop my sleeves from dragging in the rest of it. I know, and I think, do you know, I think I do it so I can show you, but then I forget that I have got the rest of the painting to do. And I do it all the time. I've done it in watercolours, which is worse because obviously it stays wetter for a lot longer. And yeah, and I don't know why I do it, and I get annoyed at myself because of it. So these are just little blobs, because again, the leaves aren't too close, and you want to layer it, but you also want to keep some of that dark. The dark is quite important. Because that's what gives the depth to a picture. Starting to take shape. I think with any painting, it's always, you get to a halfway point where you just want to give up. More so in watercolours, because with acrylics we're able to add lights and darks at the same time, but with watercolours you just it's hard to envisage certain aspects of a painting, whereas with acrylics you've got a little bit more scope to kind of get what's going on. And as you get closer, you see, you can make the leaves a little bit bigger, so it feels like it's closer. neat red. An odd leaf getting lodged. You have to think like a leaf. Maybe a bit more yellows up the back end. Yeah, it's all the process, isn't it? And I think it's always worth, and that's why I say to some of you, you know, if you wait to see what I'm doing, then you can kind of get that little bit of confidence that the darks are going to disappear, and that you know, we're building up the layers slowly, because it is quite scary when you've got such dark colour, and the fear hits you and you think, oh gosh, I don't want all of this dark in my painting. And you just got to trust that the darks help create the glow and the light, and that they don't stay in a painting other than in small places. Yeah, but if you look, the leaves cover all of those dark lines up. Okay, well, just shove a few more leaves on. No one will know. You'll know. Thanks. I, I might do it as a job, Chris. What do you think? Yeah. Well, according to our Chancellor, all of us in the creative section might just have to just retrain because there's not really any support. No, I know, exactly. You're only 17 when you started coming to my classes. It's amazing though, those blobs over the Okay, Janice, it's lovely to have you with us. Thank you. I look forward to seeing what you create. Um, it adds that warmth though, doesn't it? Like I said, the adding the blobby colours of the reds and the oranges in the foreground. It really does, and the fact that you can overlay and just tweak and flick some of the leaves is a really useful tool with acrylic painting. Now, that's all right. Oh, yeah, so you're quite a bit bigger than my piece then. Yeah. Yeah, lots more paint. Good. You'll be stocking up again soon. Excellent. You keep it up. I don't know whether to do a bit more of a glow. I don't know. Is my glow glowy enough, or shall I glow a little bit more? You're not on your own, Janice. Everyone else is a bit behind today. Because there's quite a lot to do, but what is really good about these classes is that we all know you can join on later, and I might add a bit of orange and white to get a little bit more of a glow on that tree. So there's bits of highlights you can add if you want it to stand out more. There's such a lot you can do or decide not to do with a painting like this. You can go, well, actually, I want more darks, or decide to tweak it a little bit more and eradicate all the darks, or sort of add more bark texture with sort of runny colours. And it's one of those things that you can just keep adding to or paint straight over. Yeah, you might find that works. But what would be good, Rosemary, is if it was a dilute black, if you wanted to really do the whole bottom again, so you've still got the idea of where everything is, so you've not lost it all, you know? And it'll look like you've actually got a few more layers of roots. Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look. I'm sure it'll be lovely. Right, yeah, no, actually, that's the right way up. I like that, Rosemary. I like that. All you need to do, you know where you've outlined your roots, is on the right hand side of each one, just go slightly darker with a grey wash. And what that will do is it will make it look like they're more 3D. So it's sort of, you're just adding a sort of shadow or a shade onto the root system itself. So they don't look outlined, but then it just makes it feel a little bit more like it should for you. So I don't think you need to do hardly anything at all to that. Bit softer towards the right, because each root away from the light source, because the dark is going to be casting the shadow of the root onto the next root. So it depends on if the root is in front or behind of the other one, you know, which you can decide. Because you can kind of see some of the roots are sort of intertwined and some are overlapping, aren't they? So it really is your world, Rosemary. Yeah, it just needs a bit more oomph. Because if you think each root is sort of like sort of curved, isn't it? So if you've got the light coming from the left hand side, it's going to hit the left hand side and then gradually dissipate to get darker. So you've got the option of, now I don't know if I can do it on here, maybe I can. You've got two options. So we've got a root like that, let's say, and then a root like that, haven't you? outlined, what you can do is, if this root and this root are sort of like really lumpy, if you then dilute your black, I've probably got too much black on here, and then fade it up towards the light side of the root, and then do exactly the same with the other one. So you're utilising your outline and maybe a little bit of a linear bit like that, look. Oh yeah. And then if there's another bit of a root but there's a gap there, that's going to be dark and filled with leaves. And then that bit might be a root underneath. So because this is underneath, more of it will be in shadow. Can you see what I mean? So it's all about the overlay. And then everything that I've got in here that's black will get covered up with leaves. So that might help with yours. I'm not going to do any more to this. I think I'm done, and it's 4:20. Good. So that's me done. So in 2 weeks' time, let's consult the booklet. In 2 weeks' time, we're doing a white wooden bridge and lake reflections. So that might well be on a black surface because of the water surface. So we'll see how we get on. But I will thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. And I always love to see what you've created. I will obviously take a photograph of this as soon as it dries and then post it in the comments section under the reference of this tree. So coming up for the rest of this week, tomorrow's drawing class is a West Highland Terrier, and then Thursday morning is puddles in watercolour. Thursday afternoon is Stapleton Bristol at sunrise in watercolour. Thursday evening is a harvest scene with ploughed fields in watercolour. Friday morning is week 2 of 3 of the Art of Ancient China Art History lectures. Friday afternoon is a brown bear in a field of flowers. Saturday morning is calligraphy using a broad edged brush. Sunday morning is watercolours, and it's a frosty new forest with a horse. Monday morning's demonstration is a cottage at Glenative in acrylics. And Monday evening is the view across Stapleton, Bristol at sunrise. So in 2 weeks' time, it's the white wooden bridge and lake reflections in acrylics. So don't feel disheartened about this. It's one that you can fiddle with and keep fiddling with. Now you've noticed that the contrast of my painting, I always know when I've got my glow right because the camera freaks out a bit and it's bleached it out even more. So it looks better. You'll see it better in the photograph. So thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I've really enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed your company, so thank you. And take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. If I don't see you online until the next class, take care. And if I see you, I might see you at one of them the rest of the week. But if not, have a great week ahead and a good weekend. And I'll see you all soon. So thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.